Hello and welcome to the channel. Today's video is gonna be about Bitcoin, about how I think we're actually turning bullish, and there's actually been quite a lot of talk when it comes to Bitcoin recently, because a lot of people think that we're actually coming bearish again, like we're just continuing bearish, and that this is just a bull trap. And I honestly, respectfully disagree because of a couple of things. First of all, let's go into an article that I wrote on Twitter or X, and it goes like this. Personally, I think Bitcoin will not go below 50K anymore. Well, I can be wrong because as a trader, my job is to get involved when the context is good and not to predict it. This is true. This is precisely why I think Bitcoin will not come down anymore. My context started aligning yesterday. And this is part of the reason why I think we're actually turning bullish because, as a trader myself, I only get involved when the context is good. And right now, what I'm saying is that we're starting to align to the upside. There's a couple of things I want to talk about, and we're actually going to continue with the post. And it goes like this. Starting on the daily time frame. In comparison to the last move back in January, the consolidation or stage 1 is much longer, around 53 days versus 67 days previously. This is what I'm basically talking about. This move against this one has lasted 67 days in comparison to 53 days. Usually when we see a longer, consolidation, longer stage 1, it means that we can potentially be looking at a change in direction. Okay, that's first. And it has lasted, a good amount of days more. Okay. Secondly, price has started delivering after the consolidation, stage 2. While in the previous move, we never got to see that. And this is actually true. You can see that over here, the most we saw for a delivery of stage 2 was this single candle. If you compare it to this move, we're actually seeing quite a delivery right now, which, it's a sign that we could actually be turning bullish. Okay, let's continue. And to add the cherry on top, the EMAs are starting to stack up to the upside, while lots of clear S&Ds are being formed. In fact, multiple double S&Ds are getting filled constantly, and the candles are very clean. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. As you can see here, the EMA 10, 20, and 50 is starting to stack up in order. This usually means that we're starting to turn it around. We didn't got the chance to do that here. The only EMAs that stacked up in order were the EMA 10 and the 20, which is not a big factor for trend. But in this case, we're actually going below the EMA 50 is coming below price, which is a big sign. We're actually getting closer to the EMA 200. It's still, it's still kind of far away. But the important thing is, the EMAs are starting to align. That's great, as well as of course the stage 2 and the S and this. There's multiple S and Ds being formed right over here, which is very important. A lot of people think this move is similar to this one, but it's really not. You can see the difference. There's not lots of clear S and Ds being formed up here. The only one that I could see personally is this one. You can say this is 1, but this is 2, but there is no big move after the S&D, which in my opinion makes it kind of irrelevant. You can see here, S&D form, big move. S&D form, double S&D form, by the way, big move. S&D form, big move. S&D form, big move. Double S&D form, big move. And another S&D form and another big move. This is, for me at least, it's clear as day the context. Even if Bitcoin starts coming down over here, if you could have traded this area, right? And I honestly believe we're actually starting to turn it around. Let's continue with the post. Once again, I can be wrong, but the context aligned yesterday, allowing me to trade 3 times and catch a 7 RR trade. The context is getting cleaner. Keep an eye on Bitcoin. We might see a nice run soon. Again, this is just what I said. It's same thing. We're actually gonna review the trade that I took yesterday from the daily. Let's actually start from the daily. Let's do everything in one take so you can see more clearly what was my thought process. Okay, first of all, I look into the daily. What do I see? I see a consolidation, longer term stage one. I see lots of S&Ds that are followed up by a big move right over here, right over here, over here, over here, double S&D, right over here, amazing and great S&D, as well as the EMAs are getting stacked up, the 10, 20, and 50. What else? I see lots of clean candles, and previously we saw these S&Ds, which is a great thing to see. That makes me believe that the lower time frames and that we actually might be going bullish. Okay, now I go into the 4-hour time frame. That's the next thing I did. At the moment, at least for me, the moment we actually started to turn it around was around here. You can say it could be here, here, here. In my opinion, it's not, because we're still in this big sideways action, and I just decided that this moment was for me, at least the moment that I started to follow this. And actually, if it comes down below, I will stop following it until it's good again. Okay, I see here that we pulled up above all the EMAs, then we pull back to the 10 and 20, and all the EMAs are stacked up, which shows me lots of momentum, and that the trend is very decisive. Okay, I go into the 30-minute time frame after this, and I see that there's tons and tons of money coming in, pulling back into the 10 here, price explodes, pulls back into the 10 over here, and then pulls back once again over here, which was the moments that I was like, okay, this is a good opportunity. I actually traded it before the pull back to the 10, because sometimes I allow myself to trade when it pulls back to the 5. I don't have it highlighted here, but I sometimes do. Okay, now we got a break even here, and we actually got another break even that should have been a win. Actually could have been a 9-1 RR, but it's okay, it is what it is. I go into lower time frame. What do I see? I see price pulled up outside of this longer term stage one right over here, as you can see, pulls up, then pulls back into 10 and 20. What do? I go into a 1 minute time frame. Okay, and what do you see? I see that price is inside this range from here to here. Price pulls down below the 50, which is great, shows lots of momentum coming in. Here is where momentum arrived. I think it's around the open of New York. Yes, pulls up, big candle, pulls down, big candle, then breaks. At this moment I'm in, and we took profits around here, and we finally took everything out around here for a +1 RR, around here more or less. Could be here or could be here, I don't remember, but yeah, we actually took this trade on live. So yeah, that is basically the whole thing. We took a total of 3.8 when it comes to profits, but this trade was a total of 7.4 RR in monetarily, in RR, in total RR. Okay, so this is the full analysis. It's simple as it's basic. You don't have to think so far. There's just a couple of factors that you have to logically add, and that's basically it. There's nothing else. There's a lot of people talking about this, that we're going bearish and that this is gonna be crazy. We're going to 50k, we're going to 40k. Some people say, I do not believe this, but if it happens, it is what it is. As traders, it's not our job to predict. This is just a fun video explaining my thought process behind this trade, and behind the fact that I think we might actually be turning around again, because I only get involved in clean context. And today I took my first trade on Bitcoin in at least for longs in more than 6 months. So that says something. But to me, this is a very clear sign that we are turning bullish. Thank you for watching. I hope you got something from this video. I hope you understand what I'm saying. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Leave a like if you want. And actually, join the mentorship, because this is how you read context. If you join the mentorship, you'll learn. I think the most important thing is how to read context. Why? Because in that way, you don't have to, we all have a strategy. Okay, in the mentorship, you'll learn how to create your own strategy, how to think for yourself, And I believe that once you understand context, you can trade anything, as long as you're consistent and as long as you backtest your strategy, as long as you're good psychologically speaking, you can trade it. You can trade your own strategy and you can mold it to yourself. That is the best thing about this mentorship. I teach you how to think for yourself. So you can do whatever you want. You can trade in whatever way you want as long as you are under the right context. Okay, that's enough of an ad. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.